Hello everyone and welcome to the newest edition of CHL The Zone. Today we have me as host, co-host CKX WhaleFan26,
What's up?
and our guest host from also the other show, CHL The Nation, which comes out usually on Sundays or Mondays, Snake.
Are you boys?
Alright, so today we will be talking about playoffs of round 2. We will also be going through a couple things from the last round 1, which was definitely an interesting one. Our retard of the week, and of course none other than whale fans keys of the week. So without further ado, let's get started. So round 1 just capped off Thursday night, and we had a couple of surprises. We had a couple of no shockers. I'm going to start with Whale Fan. What caught your eye in that round 1? Could be anything.
Well, a lot happened in the first round, as many of you know. I mean, it's, a lot, are we just gonna, anyways, breaking down series and stuff. I think what shocked me, Sudbury could not get away a win with Belleville. Most of these look normal to me. Niagara, it's good that they were able to get their series done sooner. Guelph was able to get a huge, advantage to SSM. I'm surprised. I don't know, but I think SSM here is going to be, a little bit weaker going into round 2 here. Erie, looking at them, I mean, their series turned around quite a bit with the error London had made. And a forfeit right at the end of the series, which is unfortunate. I know a lot of people have been talking about our series with Plymouth being a big one, but I mean, it ended with 2 OT games. It was unbelievable. Appreciate my guys. They really stepped up to the plate. I appreciate them for it. Owen Sound beating Saginaw. I guess that may have been a shock. I mean, in my thread I'd said Saginaw in 7, but it ended up being Owen in 6. So that's just me going in with the first round here. I see a lot of stuff's going on in Kingston after their 4 games with North Bay, and my camera turned yellow. I have no clue why. But anyways, I guess if we want to talk about this further, it sounds like to me that several Kingston players I've talked to in the past few days, I'm not going to say names or anything, but it sounds like something's going on that's very suspicious. I know North Bay obviously was going to win that series, but it does sound like to me that something was up in Kingston that caused this to happen. Meeting with those sources again, they have mentioned something about a second tag, and many more things that the GM threw at the series, stuff like that. One roster player never got to play, stuff like that. So I'm not going to get too further. Those are the things I've heard from Kingston players lately, and they are accurate sources. So anyways, I'm going to go over to Snake here on first round thoughts.
My big surprise for the first round was, as you mentioned, the Sault Ste. Marie and Guelph series. The fact that it went to 7 games, we got to give credit to Guelph. They played a strong series. I think a lot of that had to do with their goaltender, Iceman. We played them in the last week of the season, and despite being outplayed in that game, Iceman really helped them in it. So I think he was a big game changer in that series. Other than that, the Saginaw series surprised me a little bit. I expected that to go to 7 games, no matter who won it. So that's a little bit surprising. But other than that, I think the teams that won are pretty much the teams we thought were going to win. Some were by landslides. I know that in the East, Sudbury was supposed to finish 5th place and play Niagara in round 1, but they ended up putting stats in late and only took 7th place and were eliminated in 4 by Belleville.
They did eventually, but it didn't really. It was already too late when it was all put in the system. So
exactly.
Unfortunately, but that does tie back to one of my keys a couple weeks ago saying something about late lines. Publish them early. Sudbury, I guess we can say, did not really execute, very well. But I think it was because of Ottawa. Something happened there with the game in general that they caused it to be a forfeit or something. But
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
But going back to
speaking to a couple of the players, I know they were
yeah,
really upset with the stats not going in, and I think that hurt their attendance
yeah,
Hmm.
for the first
exactly.
round.
I see where you're going with Iceman. He looks like a very, he was there to play in the playoffs for Guelph. I know ZZ Wesley. He was one of the scoring leading players in that series from Guelph. Not bad, but apparently, clearly, I mean, Sports Freak, going back to what he said last week on the show, I think we understand that clearly Guelph had the heart of going far in this series, and it showed. I mean,
Yeah,
Guelph is really, put it to him. I'm surprised. That's my major surprise, and I'm same with you guys here. Um, I think the MVP of that series would have been CC Wesley because of the numbers he's put up, and Iceman could as well as a good goaltender there. That's gonna really show
yeah,
in the end here. So
Yeah, personally, I know both you guys mentioned my team series with the Saginaw Owen Sound. I give Owen Sound a lot of credit. They've been consistent all season. They have a great team. Very offensively sound. But I just want to speak on something here. I feel that I feel a lot of people have taken this series way out of proportion. Personally, I think that a lot of people have viewed the series as a bit of a kind of blowout, and I feel a lot of people have viewed the series in a very negative way. So I just want to kind of clear the air for both teams. First off, every game except for one was a one-goal game. The only game that wasn't a one-goal game was a 6-3 win for Owen Sound in Game 4. And Glitch Goaling, who was the AGM, killed at that game. I think he had like 4 goals, 1 assist. And I actually talked to him after that, and I was wondering, how he was doing all that crazy stuff that game. Like, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at some of the stats for it right now, and honestly, when you look at it, the series between us and Owen Sound could have gone either way, honestly. Second off, I don't understand why this has gotten so many negative vibes. I know that some people weren't really happy with the whole ruling with McDonald and the whole 3 games thing, but honestly, I think, and I was talking to Glitch today, and I think me and him both agree that this series, it was a really good series, but it just has been so overshadowed by some of the drama that went on during it as well. Like, I know a lot of people were saying things about Saginaw, how they didn't even deserve to have it going to 6, and now it doesn't shock them because we choked. And I just wanted to point out to some of those people that were kind of, I guess you could say, hating at the end. In the end, I don't care if my team ended up getting swept. We did a lot of great things this season. Night in, night out, I'm always proud of that team. We went 12 games over 500. We were always there together, playing club. Um, we actually ended up playing club for 2 hours after the game 6 loss. Like, either way, I'm proud of what this team did all season. I once again want to congratulate Owen Sound on a great series.
full series. I mean, the Sudbury did have something to go with. Obviously, they did not get shut out. That's for sure. That's good. Sudbury had something there. But if you look at it, it looks like Belleville may have had a lot of success with their special teams, maybe. But I mean, obviously, their goalie is noted to be looking good so far, the playoffs. But I mean, a lot of their numbers are also they have like their whole team. The top 5 in scoring that series was all Belleville. Next series here, Peterborough and Mississauga. I was actually dead on with this. Scoring leader from Mississauga, Presley. I said that was the guy who could potentially save Mississauga series. This series should have been a 2-2 tie after Game 4, but because of an overturn, it sucks to be Mississauga there. Um, it's too bad. But it's good to see that Presley happened to be the leading scorer out in that series at the end. Niagara and Oshawa, um, they've got some chemistry lines going on over there, and the defense is good. And one of the toxic guys is up there. Going into I've already visited the Guelph and SSM series. Going down to London and Erie, the sources of why the Erie Otters fell in the first two games and could have delivered the biggest shock in the league by possibly getting beat by London. Now, it looks like in the first two games Erie's put in this series their two ECU goalies. So that's unfortunately probably the reason why things happen to be the way they were. And then game 3 they started picking up the pace. Game 4 looked like it was in London's favor, overturned for Erie. And then game 5, that was a good game. That looked pretty close to me when I was watching it the other night. And then game 6 was a forfeit by London. It looks like maybe that, there could be some organization there to make sure players know ahead of time that they're playing and all that good stuff. The Plymouth and Rangers series, I'm going to touch on that because now the series is over and I can talk about it a little bit. Now, it's unbelievable, again, that my guys were able to pull this off for me, and it was a really big deal. First time I've ever advanced in the first round in my second season. I know it's a little odd, but, it comes, very exceptional. Fourth line, believe it or not. I mean, he's a good player. He just happened to play when he shouldn't have played. In games 3 and 4. Maybe if he was expanded to 5 and 6, Plymouth could have had it. But maybe, because of the way it was, and they had their third line playing game 6, and we had our good second line out, it really, changed odds. Even though they went to OT, I mean, it was still really good games in the end. A great effort by my guys to pull it off. I mean, we really had a good series. Saginaw and Owen Sound, just to finish that off, a lot of their guys look to be strong, and it just happened to be that way. Saginaw does look to be, giving Owen Sound, a run, and they did. Only one game, like May just said, was only, above 1 goal. But that's not bad. So, all right, well, that's me breaking it down here, each of these series real quickly. So, if you guys have any final wrap-ups on round 1 before we move forward here.
We'll go away from the past and jump into the future to the second round. Now, this time we only have 4 matchups, but I can tell you that some of these matchups are very, very interesting. We have Niagara, who is the 4th seed, versus the North Bay Battalion. Battalion coming off a 4-0 series win over Kingston, and Niagara coming off the 4-2 series win over Oshawa. Now, I know North Bay, they've been a dominant team all season, It's pen on paper, but, Niagara here, they got a couple of really good offensive lines that really rely on chemistry. Whale fan, what do you think about this series here? I think this will be interesting.
This time, I think North Bay's sweep could be put to rest here. I think Niagara does have something here. Chemistry does win games, okay? Now, if everything looks to be right, Niagara could get a couple wins in here. I know North Bay's coming off a 4-0 series, but they've been off for a little while. So, that being the case here, it may sound like since Niagara's played a day extra compared to North Bay, things could be different. Niagara has a chance, but, it's a slim.
It looks grim.
It's slim, basically. But, the chemistry is there. The chemistry is really shown.
I'll be honest, in our locker room right now, we know we're going up against a tough opponent next round. Our guys are excited nonetheless. We want to play against the best. That's what competitive hockey's about. North Bay is the best team too. I mean, it's looking grim. It is. But if we can keep to our game plan, which is staying out of the penalty box and getting the puck out of our zone clean, we think we can contend with North Bay. They do a lot of their work on the power play.
Exactly.
So if
they're
we can
really
keep
big.
if we can keep them off the power play.
What's your prediction here for this one, Wilson? I'm curious.
What's up?
What's your prediction for this one?
Oh, well, I mean, North Bay, if it looks right, them being, a special teams team, maybe you catch North Bay on an off night, who knows? But I see North Bay being able to complete this in 6. I think Snake gives them a run here that they would like, gives them a run. At least something to go with So then, yep.
Well, Finn, I'm gonna jump on the boat with you here. I'm looking at the previous series here between the Battalion and Ice Dogs. Their first game of the season was in week 2, which North Bay won 8-3 at home, and then their last game in week 4, where Niagara lost 6-4 at home.
No, you're reading that wrong. It says 4 Niagara, 6 North Bay.
Or yeah, 4 Niagara, 6 North Bay. Excuse me there. Um, it doesn't look like these two teams are very familiar with each other, honestly. But like you said, I know that Kingston actually in the series did give North Bay a run for their money, even though it was a sweep. When you look at some of those games, a lot of those games were 1, 2 goal games that came down to the wire. I was actually talking to one or two of my buddies in Kingston, and I'm looking at the series. And game 1, 4-3; game 3, 3-2.
That
Um,
that
game
4-3
4,
game was won with 4.5 seconds to go.
exactly. And it could have easily gone either way from what I was told.
Yeah.
I know what one game was 10-4, but the rest of them, were pretty close games against the Kingston team that hasn't necessarily been known to have a great defense. Now, you look at Niagara, they have a very underrated offense, and I've been saying this a lot this season. Niagara's a very underrated team when it comes to the offensive side of the puck. They have a lot of great guys on that team. The locker room seems to get along great with each other. I know a lot of people, I know the name North Bay just sees,
Hmm.
10 goal games each time, that's a 4-0 sweep automatically on the next opponent. I don't necessarily see that here. Now, I am
I
going to
think
say
North
North
Bay
Bay wins
needs
the
to learn
series.
that, not every night is going to be a dominating night.
And I think
That's
this is
going
their wake-up
to,
call.
dim down at some point. So,
And I think this is going to be the wake up call that North Bay is going to get to where they find out that this is not going to be an easy ride by any means. I'm going to say North Bay wins in 6, but I am definitely going to say that Niagara might pull a 2-1 lead sometime in this series. I really think Niagara charges at the beginning of this series, and North Bay kind of gets a bit of a wake up call, saying not every series is going to be a walk in the park. Because
We
I'm
definitely
looking
plan
at
to
this
make
other
them play good
matchup,
hockey.
our second matchup in the East. Two teams have been dominant all season. The second seed, the 3 seed, they've been battling it out between the second seed all season, but they finally meet here in the quarterfinals. We are talking about Peterborough Pete's, one of the best defensive teams in the league, led by D'Angelo 97, versus one of the best offensive teams in the league in the Belleville Bulls. And when you look at the series, I guess it's going to kind of come down to whoever's strong suit pays off more. Will fan, what do you think here?
both these teams are some hot teams right now. Now, I'm looking at Belleville. I think they already submitted their lineup, but Belleville and Peterborough look to be very two close teams. Now, we know that there are some good defenders here from both sides. I think this is easily going to Game 7. I just can't put a name to who is going out. It's going to be a tough series. In Belleville, this is going to be a bigger wake-up call than what will happen with North Bay, because Peterborough has gotten their wake-up call early in the going here in round 1 with the Steelheads. So, this case, that being said, it could be Peterborough series just because of how they stand right now. It's easily, Peterborough's going to put a lot of pressure. I know the Belleville offense is good, and I know the Peterborough offense is good. It could come down to goaltending again with Demented Christ. I know he's not one of the best ones going into this series, but I mean, Peterborough's in that same situation right now, where some of their goaltending is a little bit off, could be the difference maker here. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen in that series. If I put an expiration on it, I would say Peterborough in 7.
Snake, what about
Um,
you?
I'm actually right on the same page with you, Will fan. I think, however, it's going to come down to deep in this series. I think the stronger defense is going to win it. Offense is offense. Every team needs offense, but defense wins games and wins championships. I think Peterborough has the stronger defense right now, so I'm going Peterborough in 7.
I'm on the same page with both of
Peterborough
you
is a
guys.
really strong defensive team, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think something that hasn't necessarily been talked about too much in this series is that both teams have really good starting goalies. Reliable Moose versus IceHawks.
Yeah.
Both of those goalies are top notch. Reliable Moose has an 81.6 save percentage. IceHawks he's been top 5 or 10 in save percentage all season. And I think, like you said, this is going to come down to who has the better strong suit, who has the best. I know Peterborough is a how should I say a very defensively sound team, and Belleville's a very offensively sound team. And honestly, I completely agree with both of you that this one's going to come to 7 games. Although I'm going to say that this ends up going in Peterborough's favor. I think that Peterborough's defense is really deep. Same as Belleville's, but in the end, I'm looking at the looking at the two rosters. It's pretty even. It's kind of hard to say who will win what. But personally, I gotta say it's gonna be in Peterborough's favor in this one. Conference, we start out with the 1 seed versus the 6 seed. We have the Kitchener Rangers, led by CK Whalefan, our co-host in Hearts. And we have the number 1 seeded conference clinching Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, who got that wake-up call that we were talking about North Bay possibly getting, only having Guelph take them to 7 games, which actually could have gone either way. So, what do you guys think here? You think maybe Kitchener could possibly pull through?
I
I'll
I
start with
think
Snake.
I think Kitchener's going to give him a fight. I mean, if you look at the rosters, Sault Ste. Marie looks very strong right now. Their offense is a powerhouse. But I think that Kitchener has a lot more momentum right now. They have the momentum in their favor. The locker room right now is completely charged and ready to move on in playoffs. And I think that the seven going to 7 games against Guelph may hinder Sault Ste. Marie a little bit. I don't know how they'll recover from that compared to Kitchener's momentum. So I think Kitchener is going to come off with a really strong start, and Sault Ste. Marie is going to have to adjust to it. I think the series won't be over any. It won't be a quick series. I think it'll be over in 6. And I'm going to say that Kitchener is what does Sault Ste. Marie in, and I'm going with Kitchener.
That's a good. I actually, I can see that call. I actually can. Um, although as much as I love you, Will fan, I think that that series versus Guelph, we were talking about wake up calls, like I said. That series versus Guelph, that either is going to give them a wake up call saying this is not going to be easy, 1st seed or not, or it's going to just completely crush their spirits and say it can. If we had Guelph take us this far, which is no offense to Guelph, then how is a team like Kitchener that's been consistent all season just kind of started out a little shaky? How's a team like that? How are we going to match up against them? So when you think about it, this could either pull in Sault Ste. Marie's favor, or it could really bite them. Personally, I'm going to probably go with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds in 7. I'm looking at the season series, and it doesn't look like Kitchener did too well against them. I know Whale Fan played both games, so maybe he can give us a bit of an insight on how he saw that. But the preseason game was won 3-2. But besides that, week 2, Sault Ste. Marie won 6-3 at home, and then after that, Sault Ste. Marie won 8-2 on the road. So I think this is going to be a very close series. It's probably going to be one of the better ones in my opinion, but I'm going to have to go with Sault Ste. Marie in series. And last but not least, we go to the Owen Sound Attack, who beat the Saginaw Spirit in round 1, 4-2 in a very close matchup, versus the Lake Erie Otters, who ended up winning 4-2 in their match versus London. It seems like Lake Erie kind of struggled versus London really early in the series, and it's going to be interesting. Both of these teams, they're kind of pretty much even. I think this might be one of the better series in this playoff round. Snake, I'm gonna start with you. What do you think here?
Um, I think that this series is going to be really tight. Um, goaltending is going to be key in this one. And I know for Owen Sound, they've had reliable goaltending, but their goaltending's had some off weeks. And they just really have to hope that this week isn't that week. If they can keep their forwards doing what they're doing, then they shouldn't have a problem to lock this one up. I think to make a prediction, I'm going to say Owen Sound, and I'm going to go in 7. I think it's going to go all the way this series.
I agree with you pretty much completely. I've played against Owen Sound, obviously being in that last series, and they have some good goaltending. In most of our games, they would hold us to 1 or 2 goals, and the goalies over there, an Angel X27, and
Hi, I'm Ben.
Wait, what? No?
Yeah?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were saying something.
No.
But, now the one thing I do want to point out is that Owen Sound actually does have 18 people on the roster, which they might need to take care of.
They have one on IR.
Oh, they have one on IR. Okay, John Payne's on IR. But the goaltending for Owen Sound is very well. I know, like you said, Lake Erie, they've kind of had a couple patches in goaltending, and a lot of people, including myself, were really curious to see how that trade for Garbs was going to work, although I haven't really seen them incorporate Garbs too much, really.
Garbs is on IR.
Yeah, Garbs is on IR. I believe I think he just came off IR. I believe they're going to be putting him into the lineup this week. I think, if I recall correctly, Peguin's going to be playing center this week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He might be.
Because I know they have A.K. Buckmaster and Peguin, who's been the goalie pairing since Garbs went on IR.
I think Peguin's going to sacrifice, and he's going to give up his spot in net and play a forward position for this series.
And if Garbs and Buckmaster both 2 really good goalies, you know, if the two of them split games, that could be
Garbs could be a series changer.
That's a series changer. I know that Owen Sound has a very high-powered offense as well, but if Garbs and Buckmaster can pair together, that would be interesting and a series changer. But I'm gonna go with Owen Sound here at 7. I just think that offense just really has that firepower that a lot of other teams don't. There's not a lot of teams that can just say that they have 3 offensive lines that can vary 6 or 7 a night.
Yeah.
I'd say Owen Sound can win this in 7, even though Lake Erie has had a very good playoff series last series, and even though they have been good all season, I just don't know how they'll respond to having London take them so close last week, considering that London actually almost won that series when you think about it. They could have been up 3-2, but they had the overturn game and then the forfeit. I think Owen Sound wins this in 7. Last but not least, we go here.
Oh, well, yeah, I've actually been tuned out a little bit of this series. Erie and Owen Sound, like many of you guys have already, what you guys said, sounds like this could, make Erie better, a little bit stronger. Owen Sound bringing in what they are really bringing in the same as round 1. So, maybe the round 1 team doesn't show as much as going into round 2. I think Erie may be able to get away with it if the goaltending ends up going their favor and they don't have to use GC. That's the only thing that would work in their favor. If that, goaltending does not have issues showing up. That's all.
What's your prediction here?
If I were to put an expiration date on this series, I would say this could go to Erie's favor in 6 games.
Alright, so after that here, that was actually some good series. I think that this would be a very interesting round 2 to look out for. But now we go into one of the more entertaining parts of the show, Retard of the Week. I'm going to start over with Snake. He had an interesting one.
Yep, my retard of the week, I'm going to pull straight from the CHL forums. I'm going to go with Mississauga's own Brothers X26. I don't know Brothers very well. I don't know Mississauga very well, but in my opinion, when you have a record of 4-7-1, chirping people in a public forum probably leaves you open to getting chirped back, especially when you're chirping people with better records than you. That's my opinion, and I think that's my dingus of the week, my retard of the week right there. It's got to be Brothers.
Yeah, actually, to add with your brothers thing here, I believe you might want to say this, but if you want to talk about it a little bit more, Snake, because I know
Yeah,
you
sure.
are very interested in this. Here, actually, what I was showing you guys earlier, but I'm sure you guys will like this. Actually, this is our Kitchener Rangers
The scouting
draft.
report.
Yes,
We're getting deep
I
in the pod here.
I
This is
started
like
being
an
open
inside
about
report.
this because I mean, if you do see your name, guys, though, do not freak out or anything. Okay, this is just for just because it feels like it's needed here. So here we go. The screen is shared. I will pull up what you guys got here. If you look here, Snake, I know this is backing you up here. If we look here, there's your Brothers 26. If you
Yeah.
want to say more, go on ahead.
Well, it looks like your scouting report was late and quit at the end of the first. I'll be real. Anybody who quits in a scouting game, not good, guys. That's not good. That's just not good. That's bad.
You do see that there it actually does set. It actually
Oh,
says
hold on.
that he was 32nd and he quit in the first period and was actually showed up late,
Yeah,
which is
showed up.
not
Oh yeah, the 30
professional.
second is not rankings, by the way. That's just the when we saw them.
Oh, okay, my bad.
That's
Okay.
My
all. It
bad.
doesn't relate to their ranking, though.
Okay, but and I'm not going to speak on this too much because honestly, it's not my place. And I know me and him chirped at it a couple times in the forums. But I'm just going to leave this to anyone in the CHL that just likes to sit there and stir stuff up. Honestly, there's no need for it. Like, if you're just going to say something that just has no other intention, it's just out of the blue, you're just going to say something to try to piss one off. Just don't say it whatsoever, because no one wants to hear it. No one joined this league to sit here and watch somebody try to piss off the other one. That's not why I joined this league. I'm sure it's not like Snake joined this league or anyone else joined this league. So honestly, I know this is like preschool saying, but if you have nothing nice to say to somebody, just keep it to yourself. Like, no one necessarily is here to watch someone chirp at the other, because it's not going to help anything whatsoever. And I know both me and Snake have had that happen this week, like either in games or in forums or whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, the moral of this story is that if you're going to chirp and you just despise someone, just keep it to yourself. And if you have a problem with them, don't try to sit there and publicly say it on the forums. Just send them a private message or whatever the hell you want to do, even though you probably shouldn't do that anyways.
Yeah, work it out like a couple adults.
Exactly, just look at it as an adult, honestly. Don't try to sit there and publicly bash or chirp someone in the forums. There's no reason for it, and honestly, it's not for no one wants to sit there and look at that. So we're gonna go over the whale fans retard of the week here.
Well, my art of the week here, and I can prove this. It sounds like DA Germaniac. This guy is just gone way out of his way. I'm surprised he's not banned. By saying that, I mean, like, dead serious. He's really been, like, all over GMs lately with the whole trying to fix Barry and all that stuff. Um, but I think this is really going to get you guys noticing here. And I know Snake has also had something to say about him in general, but I'm actually going to once again pull up a screen share of the stuff you guys are seeing that Germaniac has said. Proof here, set and alone. He is wanting to be a GM next season. I don't know why there's an A, but it sounds like GM, really. This is the closest I could find in so much time here. This is what I found here. And then if you go into the CHL forums a little bit deeper, he is advertising for a goalie lock league, and he's really been getting on me about it too, which I don't like. When players from other teams are getting on me about it. Um,
I've had the
let's see.
same messages.
Yeah, exactly. Um, let's see. Oh, yeah, no, that's different. Actually, I saw he did it in LGHL forums as well. This is the responses he's getting back, actually. I don't know why, but why you would be posting those forums, because they don't apply to you, but let's look here. You see this here, and then you also see, and then
Shout
he's
out to
still trying to get away with promoting it here as he's getting chirped. And then if you look, apparently he's trying to play this off, but as you can see here, somebody else has also pitched in. And then if you looked at,
I've
I don't know
actually
why
talked
that,
to Stealthy a couple times. He's not a bad
yeah,
guy.
No, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I like
yeah, so.
Stealthy. Shout out to him.
Yeah, no, it's all right, but that's what I'm seeing there. So I think
I
he's
know
done an
he's been I
AHL.
know he's been going around the league
Yeah,
from roster to roster asking players on different people's rosters to be his AGM next year. He's done
the
it with
scouting lobby's already starting. Like,
yeah.
okay, you
He's
gotta wait. It's not smart to do this right now
yeah.
because we don't even see NHL 16 yet. Why
When
are you
And I know
scouting?
he wants
Are
when
to,
you even a manager? Like, come on.
when players aren't even done their playoffs yet, stop approaching them for management next season. Especially when you're not on their team or have anything to do with that team, really. I mean, let the season wrap up and then plan for next season. I mean, so much can happen between now and then.
and I completely agree with you. And I know he watches the show, so I give him a shout out. And he's one of my buddies. I talked to him today and played a little OTP with him.
Yeah, he's not a bad guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He means well and his heart's in it. And I like the guy, and I think his heart and soul is in it enough to be a manager. I just don't necessarily know if it. I love it. I think it's always good to start early. Starting early gives you an advantage, but I think this is a little bit too early at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too
The first
early. The game isn't even out.
the first round of the playoffs haven't even started. NHL 16 doesn't come out till next month. I don't even have my Xbox One yet.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I know there's a lot of people that still have to buy it. I think just maybe you should wait for playoffs to start wrapping up. If you're going to post that, maybe wait until maybe the finals. Then maybe you can kind of maybe start approaching it, maybe kind of privately pitching out some things. But I think right now, in the middle of playoffs, when you're just starting to wrap up round one and getting into round two, I think right now isn't necessarily the best time for him to post that. And it's
Absolutely.
nothing personal against him. I just think it's a little too early.
Yeah, it's just too early. It's
Just
there's
let the game come
there's
out.
a right time for things. Right now, just is not a good time.
No.
A lot of us are even like that Thursday. It really sets people back. That Thursday can dictate if you're out or you're in. You're going to the next round. How people are, stuff like that, how they'll take it, and you approaching them, even if they're on a team that fell, it's not gonna help your case. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's gonna make you look good. It's gonna make them say, "Oh, I don't want to play for the." If he even becomes management, let's take that new opinion here. That is, if he even does, because he's still got to go through that interview. I mean, you know, are people really going to want to play for you, or are you going to become a GM that like everybody goes inactive on you or something like that, and that's the end of it, and then new manager comes in, turn around like Windsor was. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely. Over to my retard of the weekend. Like I said earlier, this isn't to offend anyone. It's all in good fun. But I'm gonna pick the London Knights. They had the series in hand, 3-2. They only needed one more win, which was at home, which they probably could have won. One of their games, I think it was game 4 or 5, that got overturned due to, I believe, illegal lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah,
due to
yes,
illegal lines, and then the deciding game 6 to where they all of a sudden went down 3-2, they forfeit. I can tell you this:
yeah,
the worst way to lose a series is a forfeit. especially in the playoffs. To end your
Absolutely.
season in that way is probably literally the worst negative way to end your series. Even if you lose a game by 20 goals, at least you got to play it. Uh, Having a game overturned that loses you the series lead when you may have to win one more, and then having that deciding game end up being in a forfeit loss to knock you out of the playoffs, it's heart crushing. It
Yeah.
really is. And I feel bad for the players on that team that they couldn't at
There
least
were
end it
several
finishing.
league warnings given out by
Throughout the
London to
season.
those guys after that game. Yeah.
And actually throughout the season as well, I saw a couple on them.
Yeah, it sounds actually like they've given league warnings to, if I pull it up here. Oh yeah, by the way, actually Garbs was taken off IR just now, actually,
Oh,
Yeah.
as we speak. Also going back to London, if I see these things here, you can see in their final, they called up a guy to replace somebody. They've actually, I see here, it sounds like in this series overall, they given a league removal warning to SJD 21. It says here no show in the last four, doesn't respond. Following that, there was a game overturned, IR. It seems like London couldn't keep track of who they were playing, and they did not get a good grasp of the rules in the playoffs. I know there should be some changes where, like, there's players that, that all they can do is play Wednesday, but
Yeah.
you have to put them in earlier, and it's like, well, what can I do about it? Unfortunately, he wouldn't be able to make it. But I think the playoff rule needs to be a little bit looser, where as long as you play 2 games by game 6, you're solid.
Yeah.
You know, that should be that playoff rule. I think that restriction where everybody's got to play by game 4, it really hurts people,
Well,
and I
I
think it's
think
a
the
source
reason they
for
put
many.
that in is for teams that get eliminated in four, that get swept.
yeah.
To
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sure you at least.
So,
So, Whalefan, are you ready for your keys of the week, or you want to wait a little
yes,
bit?
yes,
All
yes,
right,
ma'am.
we'll kick it over to Whalefan.
All right,
First
guys,
keys of
back
the
with the
week.
3 keys again here. Um, Last week, let's revisit those. Pay attention to line deadlines. It sounds like teams were able to do this pretty well. Try not to use ECUs, I should say. Um, we did have to use ECUs on our team. It was admitted, but with the activity, it's going to be hard to schedule people. But just try not to use the ECUs. If you know you have to, be smart about it. Um, and the waiver wire had closed. Apparently, it's still open. I don't know why. Not much action again on the waiver wire. I don't think it was the best thing to go with for a key. So, yeah. So how we did that last week sounded okay. It sounded, yeah. At the end of the series, it ended up being a PM that was sent out to everybody, all the GMs, so we had a better understanding of the rules. I know I was told about this. So if you substitute an ECU player, that active roster player does not have to be rescheduled. I found that out, and as well, that here. The major thing is be smart about deadlines and all that stuff. Hate to see a team get a penalty just because of the different situations and stuff like that. So that's been going on lately. I know London struggled as well and stuff like that, having that overturned and forfeit. So anyways, keys for this week. Pay attention to the line deadlines once again. Try not using ECUs once again. That is going to keep playing into effect for the rest of the playoffs. And if you need the help on rules, ask, and your availability really starts to set in. Players' availability is going to become stricter, and it's going to be hard to schedule them. I'm already witnessing that with my team, and probably another team's also having that problem as well. Who knows?
Yeah, same
Um,
here.
yeah. So, I mean, it is going to get harder with availability. So, try to be smart about it. Make the best moves that you can possibly make with, if you have to make an ECU change. Who knows? So, those are my 3 keys of the weeks. Again, we'll see you next week with some new keys, hopefully. I'll try to make some fresh ones here, fresh new keys after this round. So, back to B Major.
Yes. All right, and I think that's pretty much all we have to cover here, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so, actually.
Alright, I think this is a pretty successful show. Thanks as always to CKX Whale Fan for coming on as the co-host, and thanks again for Snake coming on for both shows this weekend.
Thanks for having me, boys. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, man, had a great time. So, anyways, thanks again for all you guys for watching, to these two gentlemen for coming on tonight. Feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe. We're always welcome to feedback. Thanks to you all for supporting us. Congratulations to all the round 1 winners. Best of luck to you all in the second round. For Snake4413 and CKX WhaleFan26, this is B Major signing out from CHL The Zone, Episode 8. Have a good night, everybody.